A very good evening to you. And welcome along to another Sweet and Swing here on Megs Radio. Howard with you through until the top of the hour. As always, delighted to have your company. What have we got? How about some ladies singing the blues? Some crazy rhythm from Harry Parry and his Rhythm Club Sextet, Oscar Rabin. But to start off, you know, I'm feeling a bit hot and anxious. All hot and anxious with Fletcher Henderson, of course. Hope you're not hot and anxious this Friday evening, or at least if you are hot and anxious, I hope the next hour will hope to calm you down a little bit, help you relax after another stressful week. Well, it might have been a stressful week. Most weeks seem to be stressful one way or another in my life. Most of it's self self-perpetuating, shall we say. Yeah, that's probably the best word, isn't it? You know, author of my own misfortune and all the rest of it. So I hope you're not in that sort of field and that you're having a nice, relaxed Friday evening. And I've had a nice, relaxed week as well. Listening to Manx Radio, plenty of good music on throughout the week. Lots of good news, lots of good weather. And don't forget, of course, Manx Radio Gold, if you just want wall-to-wall hits from the 60s and 70s and 80s and such like, and a bit of Andy Wint of a morning to get you going, what could be better? And a bit of Ben Hartley at the weekend as well. But just hits all the way. What can go wrong? Anyway, lovely to be here, as usual, alternating with our sister programme. Jumping in, James Fletcher Hamilton Henderson, known as Fletcher Henderson, of course. Pianist, bandleader, arranger, composer, and really quite an important figure in the development of the music we're playing here a lot of the time. Big band jazz and swing music, one of the most prolific musical arrangers, along with Duke Ellington, one of the most influential, perhaps, arrangers in the earlier part of jazz history around the big band and swing era. Great influence on those who followed him. Born in the wonderfully named Cuthbert in Georgia and raised in quite a middle-class African-American family, his father, Fletcher Hamilton Henderson, hence the name, was the principal of the nearby Howard Normal Randolph School from 1880 right the way through until 1942. That's some job, wasn't it? 62 years, my lordy. And the home, you can still go there, I believe. Wouldn't mind going. An historic site. Henderson's mum, she was a teacher as well, kept it in the family. She taught him and brother Horace to play the piano, and he began by the age of 6, and they were fairly strict disciplinarians, according to all accounts. His dad would often lock him in his room and told him to get on and practice for hours at a time. Hence, no internet then, of course. He didn't have to worry about him having his mobile phone. By 13, he had a rather keen musical sense, a great sense of pitch, and carried on studying music and then maths and European art. I was thinking about going into mathematics. He's very keen to maths and science. And at 18, he moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and changed his name to become known as Fletcher Henderson, giving up the James and using his grandfather's name. Attended Atlanta University, no slouch here, I tell you. Was a member of the fraternity Alpha Phi Alpha and graduated in 1920 with a degree in, no, not music or composition or arranging, but in chemistry and mathematics. I told you he was bright. Then after graduating, moved to where all jazz musicians seem to move at some stage or other in their life, even though they don't stay there. New York, the Big Apple, of course. The intention, though, of attending Columbia University for a master's degree in chemistry. But apparently, it looks like he never actually enrolled for that, but instead got a job as a part-time lab assistant in Manhattan and shared a room with a pianist who worked as a musician in a riverboat orchestra. So when his roommate was ill, Fletcher Henderson would step in and cover for him. And soon this led to a job, being rather good, as he was, as a full-time replacement. And in the 20s, he found work as a song demonstrator with Pace and Handy Music Company. Again, you know, they had to demonstrate the songs, the music, the sheet music they'd be selling. And Henderson now found that music could be much more profitable to him. I can't say it this evening. Profitable, that's better, than chemistry. And left us the job as the lab assistant and started out in his life in music. And as they say after that, he never looked back. He was with Benny, I think, wasn't he? He knew Louis. He basically sort of knew and influenced so many of them. In addition to Armstrong, other lead trumpeters he had in his band included Henry Red Allen, Joe Smith, Rex Stewart, Tommy Ladner, Doc Cheatham, Roy Eldridge. Sax players he worked with included Coleman Hawkins, Buster Bailey, Benny Carter. Sun Ra, unusually, also worked as an arranger with him during the 1940s. Now, you wouldn't put Sun Ra and Fletcher Henderson together straight away, would you? But such is the wonders of jazz. Loads more we could talk about. Let's have some more music. It's got to be that time. It's Minnie. It's Cab. We're mooching.
Now here's a story about Minnie the Moocher. She was a red-hot hoochie coocher. She was the roughest, toughest rail, but Minnie had a heart as big as a hay whale. Howdy, howdy, ho.
Howdy, howdy, ho.
Hidey, hidey, hi.
Hidey, hidey, hi.
Heedy, heedy, hee.
Heedy, heedy, hee.
Howdy, howdy, ho.
Howdy, howdy, ho.
Now she messed around with a bloke named Smokey. She loved him though he was cocky. He took her down to Chinatown. He showed her how to kick the gong around.
Showed her how to kick the gong around.
Howdy ho,
Howdy, ho.
hidey hi,
Howdy, hi, hi.
Waddy weeble,
Howdy, weeble.
howdy howdy ho.
Howdy, howdy, ho.
Now she had a dream about the King of Sweden. He gave her things that she was needing. He gave her a home built of gold and steel, a diamond car with the platinum wheels. Waddy woody way,
Waddy, woody, way.
oh baby,
Oh, baby.
wanna be with you.
What are you?
Howdy ho.
Howdy, ho.
Now he gave her his townhouse and his racing horses. Each meal she ate was a dozen courses. She had $1 million worth of nickels and dimes, and she sat around and counted them all 1,000,000 times. Howdy, howdy,
Howdy, howdy.
oh Minnie,
Oh, Minnie.
Waddy way,
Howdy, way.
oh.
Wow, now.
Morning,
oui, c'est le bleu de Paris, as they say. Paris blues. Yeah, no, French was always not my best. I can barely get past O-level. Anyway, hope you enjoyed a little twofer there. Paris Blues was what we just heard. Swung along very nicely indeed. Sammy Price and Lucky Thompson, recorded in Paris back in the 1950s, I think it was. Lucky Thompson on the tenor sax, Sammy Price at the piano, Jean-Pierre Serson on guitar, Pierre Michelot, well known of course, played with Dexter Gordon amongst others, on bass, and Gérard Pochnet doing a good job on the drums. They're recorded in 1957 in Paris. And before that, the unmistakable Minnie the Moocher, Cab Calloway. He would have been an actor to have seen live, wouldn't he? I think that would have been, Cab would have been wonderful to have seen in a live scenario, all dressed up. And that music, it still is catchy today, isn't it? And still sort of sounds modern to my ears. You can imagine it going down well with kids now. If they had a chance to see that sort of music, you wouldn't have to tweak it that far to make it very suitable, I think, to a lot of kids who could really get into that sort of sound and that sort of speech and the way of speaking. It's almost like a forerunner of the modern rap, much as I hate it, but you could sort of see, in a way, that's sort of what came before. There's always something before, isn't there? I'd have to say, obviously, it was much better before, and Cab probably did it better. That's not to decry any rappers, but you know what? I just think this one it was sort of coming out of that same idea to a degree, but it was just much more musical and better. Let's leave it at that, before we start an argument. Now then, we're always asking about friends of the programme and asking to get in touch, which a few of you do from time to time. And it's always lovely if anyone's listening, wherever it might be, on the Isle of Man, in Britain, on the continent, further afield via the wonders of the web and via our podcast, of course, which, don't forget, goes out every week straight after the programme's finished. 5 minutes later or so, go to the Max Radio website, or if you subscribe, or go to your usual podcast provider, as they say, whichever one it might be, you can download Sweet and Swing as a podcast to your device, listen to it when you want, as often as you want, where you want, so you can be anywhere. You can take it anywhere. You can keep it as long as you want. What's not to like? And so why not do that? So wherever you might be, get in touch is the first message, because we always love to hear from you. We love to hear where you're listening from, particularly as it could be the other side of the world, who knows, what you're up to, why you like the music, and who you might actually like, who you might like featured, perhaps a song, perhaps someone we could do a little featured piece on, or maybe someone you'd like to hear on Sweet and Swing you've never heard before. Drop us a line. Howard Kane at maxradio.com, Kaine. Don't forget the E. Howard Kane at maxradio.com, all lowercase, and it would be lovely to hear from you. And we know we have a few regulars who tune in every week, and I chat to a few people who say, I really enjoy it, and come from time to time. Give me an idea, or sort of say, yes, I enjoy listening to the music. And I know some people on the Isle of Man, as well as on the Emerald Isle and such like, as we've mentioned before. And one fairly close to home is John Cannell, who listens here on the island. And I was mentioning him only the other week because we hadn't heard from him. And I was just pondering that he was all right or not. And I had a lovely message from Peter Gelling, who said, "Hi H, I write to you on behalf of my cousin John Cannell, he of Shen Valley, who's a regular listener to your Friday evening programme. He tells me he heard you mention his name a while back, concerned you hadn't heard from him recently." That's absolutely right, Peter. I did. Well spotted, John, yeah. The reason being, John's not got the best of sight, and up until recently a volunteer at Shen Valley could write his letters for him. Unfortunately, the volunteer has left, and John hadn't asked anyone else to write for him. Now then, if you said, John, I could have come down, written it, sent it to myself, and done something. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. Yes, never be afraid to ask. That's what my mum always said to me. You've got a tongue in your mouth, get on with it. So anyway, the good news is Peter is on the case now, which is great, which means we hopefully will get some more requests coming from that direction. Always pleased to hear from you, John. Enjoying the music, which is lovely. He's still listening, and so I had a follow-up from that with a bit of a request. Hey H, thanks for getting back. I passed on your best to cousin John. He was pleased to hear. And he said he would like anything by Billy Cotton. You can choose it. Well, That's very generous of you, John. I like it, the fact you trust me. It's always a worry, though. I might play something you don't like. Anyway, tell me if you don't, we'll play something else. How about this one? It's a good number, this one. Doing the Uptown Lowdown.
Social debs and high, Hadelites, masses, classes, doing the uptown lowdown, where they spend their simoleons just to watch those Creoleans skipping, hipping, doing the uptown lowdown. You'll find laughter after midnight, that's their playtime. Heidi, Heidi, hey time. What price? Yeah, man. Bankers with their Cinderella relatives, listening to those hot high relatives up in Harlem, doing the uptown lowdown.
Swing boys, now you find laughter after midnight, that's their playtime. Hey, hey time. What price? Yeah, man. Bankers with their Cinderella relatives, listening to those hot high relatives up in Harlem, doing the uptown lowdown.
It is a good number, isn't it? No one listed on doing the vocals on that. Was it Breezy? It doesn't sound like Breezy, Alan Breeze, but maybe it was. Well, maybe it was. Teddy Foster, Alan Breeze? Don't really know. And not helpful on that particular album. They don't give any details on the recording artist at all. No, useless. Honestly, I'll send it back. What I would do, were it not for the fact it's probably at least 35 years old. I need a glass of champagne. love the chord on the end of that. Da-da. Great ending to Harry Parry, of course, with Champagne. What else? Straight off the back of Billy Cotton. Hope you enjoyed that one, John. And yeah, do get in contact whichever way you like. If there's someone writing, or Peter's writing, or Peter can send a message, lovely. Always happy to play some requests. And keep on listening is all I can say. And I can say the same to everyone else. Keep on listening. And please get in contact. Howard Kane at manxradio.com is far and away the easiest way. But if you do like to put pen to paper, as John was doing with lovely cards all the time, but I don't really mind trying to get in contact, then you can always put pen to paper, or pencil to paper, or crayon to paper. Howard Kane, Sweet and Swing, Manx Radio, Broadcasting House, Douglas Head, Douglas, of course, in the Isle of Man, and that's IM for Mother 1, 5BW. It'll take a bit longer, but it'll get there, and will have the same effect. So if you're not in a rush, and you're a more romantic frame of mind, that's the one to go for. Why not? Well, I was enjoying my guitar. We haven't had much straight guitar for a while. So I found this rummaging around in the bag. Tal Farlow. Always liked a bit of Tal Farlow. And we had a little feature on him a while back. And I thought, well, we'll dig some more out again from the swinging guitar of Tal Farlow, an amazing player. And again, sort of quite a radical on the electric guitar back in his day with the style he was playing. It was all his own. And very effective it was too. Here he is on Like Someone in Love. Good sound, the swinging guitar of Tal Farlow. I remember getting this, was this in fact on LP many years ago. In fact, I'll still have it somewhere. I haven't dug it out for an awfully long time. And much more recent, I think it must have been remastered and brought out on CD, and a copy made its way, I don't know whether it made its way to me or made its way to the old maestro back in the day. Either way, it's been in the bag for a while, and nice to dig it out again there as well. Tal Farlow with Eddie Costa piano and Vinnie Burke at the drums. A great name, Tal. I mean, I thought it actually was the full name. It's actually short for Talmadge. Not a name you hear very often, Talmadge, is it? I'm not quite too sure what its background is or where it comes from, Talmadge. Is it American? I really wouldn't like to say. But he was born Talmadge Holt Farlow. Holt as in H-O-L-T as a middle name. Talmadge Holt. You don't often get those two names put together. But such was he, Talmadge Holt Farlow, born in the early 1920s in North Carolina. Was going to become a commercial artist, but he heard the guitar quite early on. His dad played guitar, which is where he picked it up from. So he just sort of picked up the fundamentals from watching his dad play. Never had any lessons. He just listened and tried to copy what he heard and what he saw his dad doing. Loved Charlie Christian. Picked up some Benny Goodman records in the early 40s. And immediately wrote to Sears Roebuck and purchased a $20 amplifier. Started playing as nearly as he could in the style that he'd been hearing on the radios of his idol. In fact, he says, I listened and I could play his notes note for note, part for part, as it were, note for note. Charlie Christian. Then I came across Count Basie, and that's when I realised that Christian was influenced by Lester Young. A really exciting discovery for me. And at that time, he was working as a sign painter. And then when an Army Air Force training base was set up close to where he was in Greensboro in the 1943, began to get calls to play for dancers there and formed an association with Jimmy Lyons, a good jazz pianist who happened to be stationed there. And then later he was heard by another pianist, Dardanelle, who persuaded to join her unit in Roanoke. And the group was booked into the Cooper Lounge in New York, and Tal went along to the big town and heard Charlie Parker, Dizzy, lots of other modern sounds, which influenced him, of course. And soon after after Tal joined Norvo, Charlie Mingus came into the trio on bass. That's a good mix, isn't it? And Norvo's group, Red Norvo, hit its all-time peak for taste, proficiency and modernity, as it suggests in the lining notes. Wouldn't disagree with any of that. And except for a few years playing with Artie Shaw a few months, I should say, rather, with Artie Shaw in 1954, Tal remained with Red until leaving to form his own group in the spring of 1956. Great player, though. It's just a lovely, smooth sound. And again, I think even now, if you spoke to modern jazz guitar players, they'll probably cite Tal as an influence. Going back, he was very influential, although little heard these days, as are so many of the wonderful artists on Sweet and Swing. Not so this next one, though, because she crosses the boundaries, is one of those icons of jazz vocals. The original, perhaps. Well, Bessie Smith, I suppose, was the original lady of the blues, but my word, I think Billy had a good call for it as well.
said goodbye and took my heart away. So from today, I'm traveling light. No one to see. I'm free as the breeze. No one but me and my memories. Some lucky night he may come back again, but until then, I'm traveling
If I had a ribbon bow to tie my hair and a gown of calico that I could wear, I'd surely get a sweetheart, a prince or a king, a palace home where I would have everything. If I had a ribbon bow to tie my hair, this old world could come and go, I wouldn't care. I'd stay up in my castle and I'd always wear a ribbon bow so fine to tie my hair all the livelong day. To the Lord above me, all I do is pray for someone to love me. If I had a ribbon bow all nice and clean, I could be a princess or a fairy queen. Prince Charming then would court me, his love he would swear. If I had a ribbon bow to tie my hair. There's a story of a girl, a story seldom told. What she wanted from this world was not of gems or gold. Her wishes were quite plain, as you will see. For often she would simply make this plea all the livelong day. To the Lord above me, all I do is pray for someone to love me. If I had a ribbon bow all nice and clean, I could be a princess or a fairy queen. Prince Charming then would court me, his love he would swear. If I had a ribbon bow, a pretty little ribbon bow, Prince Charming then would court me, his love he would swear. If I had a ribbon bow to tie my hair.
Great track, lovely voice, Maxine Sullivan. Beautiful, clear diction and voice. That crystal clear voice she had, following straight on from Billie Holiday, of course, with the incredibly blues, pain-induced voice she had. You can sort of hear the tragedy in her life in her voice, I think, with Billie Holiday. And it's one of those sort of curious questions you don't like to dwell on too long, thinking, had she not had such a tragic life, would she have sung in the same way? And I suspect the answer is no. But, yeah, it's one of those, you can't square the circle, can you? I mean, what a recorded legacy, and what an incredible voice, and how much she could get into a song. But it probably wouldn't have been there had she not been so used and abused by life and men in general. It's, again, best not dwell on it, perhaps just enjoy the music for wonderful music, what it is, and the great legacy she left, albeit that she had a really hard time and was not well treated by those who should have cared for her, I think. I promised you some Oscar Rabin. We better get some in before it's too late. And here's a question. If you happen to be out and not in your living room, I suspect a lot of you might be at home, but who knows? You could be out driving, you could be out working, you could have your headphones on. In which case the question might be, who's taking you home tonight?
After the dance is through, who's going to hold you tight and whisper, I love you, I do? Who's the lucky boy that's going your way to kiss you goodnight at your doorway? Who's taking you home tonight? Darling, it's plain to see. I'm pleading, please let it be.
So I don't know who is taking you home tonight. I hope someone is. If you're out and about and you get home safely, or you might just be home in the comfort of your own living room or wherever the case may be. In any case, Oscar Rabin there. During his school days, Oscar met a blind violinist. It came to seeing how interested he seemed to be in the instrument allowed him to be present while pupils were being taught, and Oscar eventually became one of those pupils. The blind man's teaching was so thorough that Oscar won a scholarship to the Guildhall School of Music at the age of 14. And when he was 16, he was playing in the pit orchestra at the local theatres, doubling on violin and saxophone. Yes, another one, isn't it? At the outbreak of the First War, he swapped the violin for a rifle, and after the war, he said he found it hard to get back into the music business. It wasn't until the jazz band craze in the 20s that he formed his own band, and his first engagement was to play at one of the Lions restaurants. There used to be many of them in London, followed by an engagement at the Derby Palais in 1922. Taking the vocals there, well, it's interesting actually. It's listed on the CD as Jerry Gowan, but I think it's actually Gary Gowan. And my book of words tells me of Gary Gowan. He was a wartime singer with Oscar Rabin. Oh, bless you, Gary. I think you were better than that, surely. Deserve more. If you know, or let me know. Howard Kane at maxradio.com. Kane with an E. That's it for this week. See you in a couple of weeks. Take care. Cheerio.